Hi guys, I'm Stephanie Rhodes-Bosch. I'm sitting here with David O'Connor, the Canadian Equestrian Team Technical Advisor. We're here in beautiful Ocala, Florida, and we're going to talk to you a little bit about what David has done for the Canadian program in the last few years since he's been with us. So when you started in 2007, what were your initial priorities and goals as far as reshaping the program that you had to work with?
Well, I think as with anything, the first thing is to kind of assess the situation. And so the first year was really kind of looking around and seeing what it is. And the first thing that you really saw is that there was kind of a lack of structure with everything. And that would have one thing of trying to get a team together that was behind the team, the administrative side. And, we were lucky enough with Graham, Tom to come in, and Greed Hyde stayed on, who was fantastic. And, and Graham came on, and Deb all became into the program. And really the four of us, in a lot of ways, got together and thought about the bigger picture. So that was the first thing. How do we do structure? I was brought up in a structured environment in the way that I came through my own team experience, and am a great believer in that, and a great believer that in a system, because I think any sport, whether you're talking about football or you're talking about basketball or soccer, I don't think we're any different. That's one realization. I don't think we're any different than all those other sports. And so the establish of a structure and establish of a system, it becomes very, very important. And with all that, you have to set up a system that you believe in, and then you have to give it time to grow and not change. And I think that's been a big part of this. And right from the beginning, I didn't think talent was the issue. We had talented riders. We had talented young riders. We talent scouted a little bit, kind of like finding you and your horse out in out in BC
5 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. And that so it was going around and looking at what was available and what was going on. And with that, there were a bunch of younger riders that were kind of that had a lot of talent, had some good horses, and so they tried to convince them to be into a structure. And like with you and Jess Phoenix and there was and Rebecca Howard, with other horses, even though she had been with me before. And so with that, I think it became that was the start of the growth. And what we really did was start from the beginning. I mean, very much about fundamentals of riding. And for the first years, that's really what we worked on. And then now the conversation is different. Now we're working much more on specific avenues and, more of the details as you work up the ladder. But because the fundamentals, I think, are quite good, as what happened with successes in the World Championships. And I think the success at the Pan Am here was because the fundamentals were very, very correct. And because then the fundamentals were correct, good things happen on top of that. But if you just try to go up to the top and compete right there, from a technical point of view, from a philosophical point of view, you're going to fail because there's just not the foundation underneath it. And I think these successes lately have really been a testament because of the fundamentals, and the foundation is strong. And that's obviously a big part of what I believe in. And then so putting the structure behind it, with the Olympic Committee and Equine Canada, going back to the fundamentals and making sure that the fundamentals were correct and building on that base, then created the next step of belief, a little bit of success. The Olympic Committee gets more interested in with the OTP funding, the On the Podium funding, because they saw a program, they saw a thing, and they were good about it, betting on it a little earlier than technically they should have, but now that paid off, and now they're really into it. And so it's really just a growth of a program. And I think starting and assessing from the beginning is real important, being honest with that, and going after the talent that's there, and especially a little bit, probably in this situation, a little bit of younger talent, because some of the guys that have been around for a while, they had been around for a while, and I think it was time to shake things up and come on, let's go at it from a different direction. And then then there's this. Then there's the side of it as belief. You got to believe. Why can't you win? I remember having the conversation in the first year of what is the difference between you and the top person in the world? Is it technical? Is it that you don't pick enough good horses? Is it a riding thing? Is it a mental thing? Is it a financial thing? What's the difference? And every rider has to go through that, of what the difference is, and most of the time it's not the talent thing, it's the other, it's the other side.
What's the answer to that question?
Well, talent is always the least important part of it, yeah. Well, ambition is a big part of it, and that belief and the will to be competitive. And I'm a great believer that the competitive side of things is the drive to be good, and the unacceptable view of being that that you settle, that it's average, and you settle for average. And that ambition and that competitiveness is a huge part of people, because they drive themselves to be better, and then that's what ends up winning. You don't drive yourself to be competitive to beat people. You do drive yourself to be competitive you refuse not to be good.
Right. You can't rely on other people not doing as well as you do to win. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that wins. That's what wins. And that drive is really important. So ambition is important. I think self-assessment is really important, and honesty with yourself about your strengths and weaknesses and all of the aspects. And then being able to put a management group together yourself, as well as what the team is. So those are the type of things that is the next step that is kind of going on now.